Hi, my name is Alain Jean-Baptiste. I'm a psychic medium, and I'm going to explain to you what psychic powers or psychic readings actually are. Now, we say psychic powers, but those are natural occurring things every human being has. Basically, psychic means somebody that's able to access information beyond the five natural senses. Now, I wrote a book called The Seven Lost Senses, in which I actually mentioned that there's 12. Other doctors in the world have also mentioned it. And so there's research that have been done that says that there might be actually 17 senses. So we're not going to go way into that. I'm just telling you that to be able to do psychic readings is just basically people that are able to access information beyond the five natural senses. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, the word psychic comes from psyche, which means of the soul. And so people that are able to do that, what they do is they usually tap into information that is in your energy field. Now, everything is vibration, whether Einstein says it, whether a physicist says it, or whether you just read about it. Everything that exists is made of matter, and is made of everything that is matter, is made of vibration, is made of energy, if you want. So within those particles are what are called electrons, neutrons, and all those things, all the way to quantum physics. Now, our brain, which is a supercomputer, enables us to be able to perceive information beyond those five senses. Is that most people aren't aware that they have more than five senses, and even if they don't, when they use them, they're still able to tap into an energy. That's why you have different words and different type of psychics. There's clairvoyant, which actually see things. There's clairaudience, which actually people hear things. There's clairsentient, people that will feel things. And I'll get into that in a couple of minutes here. The idea is that those senses are related to the natural senses. And so that's why when people have this information, they're able to see things like images. Let's say I would describe a house that one of my clients says, is this house going to be good for real estate? I said, if you change this, the next person's going to be looking for this thing. So I'm looking into the future, okay? Now, we have a word called space-time continuum. Now, we say space-time because it has to do with space and time. Now, none of those things really exist. If you ask in terms of physics, they don't exist, okay? It's like, is there a tree? If you're not there in the woods hearing a branch fall, actually, scientists will tell you, no, there's no tree. There's nothing because you're not there to experience it. And so time and space don't truly matter in terms of that, because you want to look at theories of, non-locality, non-duality, and things of that sort, which tell you that, we're all connected. Everything is there in the moment right now. So for me to have access to knowing something in terms of describing a house in China is the same thing as me describing a house across the street in terms of in my mind. That's clairvoyant. In terms of clairaudience, it's when you hear things. So being able to hear somebody's conversation. I remember I assisted at one point a gathering of psychics and making seances in Montreal. And this person, so brilliant, he came and he was singing a lullaby song to my girlfriend at the time. And he says, does that tell you anything? She says, I know exactly what it means. So she calls up her daughter, and her daughter had found out 2 days before she was pregnant. And from that point on, she says, I knew because of the song the guy came to tell me. So that's clairaudience. Some people will listen in terms of songs. Some people will hear, as myself, I can hear certain conversations when I'm dealing with cases for police or any criminal cases or court cases. Sometimes or even business meetings, I'm able to actually hear the conversation to some degree. I remember working with a true spy, and I said, you know what? Your partner, you can't trust him. He's gonna betray you. And he said, why do you say that? I've been working with him for years. I said, I'm telling you, by this Monday, you have a meeting with him, right? He says, yeah, I do. I said, when he says this specific phrase, then you'll know that what I'm telling you is it's true. He's gonna betray you. And exactly on the Monday night, he calls me and he says, you know what? He said exactly the phrase you did, and I'm gearing up. I know what he's doing next. So in terms of that, that's in terms of clairaudience. In terms of clairsentient, there are people that feel things, all right? I remember doing a reading at one point, and I was with a friend who had brought a friend. Two people were in front of me, and this woman, I'm explaining And she says, you know, this relationship, is he good for me or not? And at one point I get this huge hit and it feels like a boot. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, it feels like somebody just kicked me with a construction boot. She says, that's my boyfriend. He kicked me with his construction boot. And I'm like, okay, alrighty. I didn't know what to say, to be honest with you, but I actually felt it. So sometimes you will be able to feel it. Some of those psychics are also called empath. So they'll feel things, all right? If you're learning to develop your own intuitive abilities, it's very important that you distance yourself and recognize what's yours and what's not. As an example for myself, in a relationship, girlfriend anxiety, I would feel it. I would know specifically when that person would get a panic attack because I would feel it inside of me. So I have to learn to distance myself from it. That's called clairsentient, okay? And also empath. So if you're learning to discover those things or you want more about it, you can also reach my website at alainjeanbaptiste.com or my Facebook page, Possibilities in Mind, which will give you more in terms of information. And also there's Facebook live events that teach other things in that sensing. Now, in terms of psychic, you have a difference between psychic and mediums, and I'll talk to you in the next video about the difference between the both of them. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.